Well, the intro didn't work this time, but that's great. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 19 of the Blindsided podcast. In this one, we're going to talk about scary decisions, decisions that we know deep down will help move us forward, but somehow we keep putting them off. And my name is Charlie Collins, and I am the co host of the Blindsided podcast, the co founder of Thriving Blind Academy. And I also do speaking and some coaching. And in my coaching, we like to take a look at the story that you hold so dearly that isn't serving you anymore. And we like to look at the suffering it produces, the limiting beliefs that keep pulling you back to the story and disrupt that a bit and then move you to a better place to create a vision of clarity and move forward.
Good morning, Charlie. Hi, everybody. My name is Brenda. I'm the founder of timefor10.com. We are a coaching service. We have 9 coaches now. And what we do is we help people inventory their disturbances so they can challenge their conditioned thinking and find new happiness and freedom and emotional rest. Welcome.
You're also the co-host of the Blindsided podcast.
I am very proud to be the co-host of the Blindsided podcast.
When the list the list gets longer and longer, we start forgetting certain things on there.
Yeah, we do.
So today we want to talk about decisions and not so much choices, not so much our day-to-day, like, should I have a strawberry or a blueberry type thing? These are more of the ones that, like an inner prompting in our bodies that, I know, and knowing isn't always what we are doing, but knowing with moved into a course of action, which creates an experience, which then moves us in a direction towards healing or getting better or improving a skill or getting rid of or forming a new relationship and things like that. But these decisions that kind of come to us, that this inner prompting that says, I'd really like to improve my physical health. And I just know it because it's the right thing to do. I'll look good, I'll feel better, and I'll have more energy. And I want to make that decision tomorrow. And I want to do it. And a year goes by and what am I afraid of? And what is holding me back? Why do I keep reverting back to my most practiced way of living, which isn't engaging or taking inspired action on that decision?
Charlie. This is a great topic. I'll tell you why it's a great topic. It reminds me of a book called Who Moved My Cheese? Have you ever heard of that book?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So when I had my own company, when I got venture capital funded and I was hiring employees, I would hand that book out to them because change is one of the hardest things for people to do. And we've talked about this on our podcast before. It's, we have a certain routine and we have certain things we do every day and we have certain foods we like and people we like to be around. We just have these habits, these things that we do that's ingrained in the way that we behave that we don't want to give up because we're comfortable. It feels safe. It's a form of control, really, controlling your environment, the predictability of your environment. And I think that has a lot to do with not being able to make decisions to do things in a new direction because we're really comfortable with the direction that we have. Even sometimes, even if we don't like it, we like the comfort of it, the predictability of it, the sense of control, the sense of ease and comfort we get from doing the same thing, right? Every day, even if it's not healthy.
Yeah. And if you hear some big bangs, it's not fireworks. It's getting nighttime out my windows. It's getting darker and darker. And I see the wind picking up and thunder's coming in. So happy summer.
Yeah.
Yes. And let me just jump down to this, Brenda. And let's go through this for a minute. So will you read that out loud?
Sure. What is the first reason we don't make that decision? What is the first reason we don't make that decision?
Well, what is the number one?
Okay. What is the number one? I'm sorry. Reason we don't make that decision.
Well, here's a clue.
Self-reliance failed us. Fear.
I mean, really? Isn't that the root? Isn't that the crux? Isn't that why? Even though that inner prompting, that spiritual, that we're born with that inner awakening that wants us to thrive and live this quality of life. But over the years, we build up a bit more of a fear muscle. And then we realize that that inner prompting, that light shines in us, and we get a little excited, but fear shuts it right back down again for some reason.
Absolutely, Charlie. It's all about fear, fear of change. What's it going to be like? Fear of losing something I have or not getting something I want. For me, I mean, I'll give a simple example. So we talked before, and Stan's back from Florida, so he's probably going to hear this. We talked before about this, the snacking on food that's not healthy for me at night, right? And in thinking about why I'm not willing to give that up, what comes to mind for me is I enjoy it. There's pleasure associated with it. I don't want to give that up. It's my little reward system that's going off. You worked hard today. You actually did a workout today. Whatever the story is, I tell myself about why it's okay to have, protein chips that are full of chemicals and ingredients that aren't healthy for me. Processed food is not healthy for me. It's a processed food snack. What I tell myself is it makes me feel good. I enjoy it. I don't want to give up that pleasure. And I'm afraid to give up that pleasure because I enjoy it. Well, what am I going to have instead? Something that doesn't satisfy me, something I don't like. I don't even know what the substitute's going to be. And I'm already telling myself a story that it won't be as good as what I'm having now.
Yeah. And so we can make that decision, right? That open the door to a new way, maybe to move from surviving to thriving, to find other power within us or whatever presents itself that fills that void we think we're going to experience, that we're going to be uncomfortable with. But I can tell you in my life, the only way to move forward is to become uncomfortable first.
Absolutely, Charlie.
Because if I operate out of comfort every day, I get sicker.
Yep. That's a really great point.
I end up like this dude.
Yeah.
Like, duh, I don't get it. Why is this happening to me? So you could tell I went in and had a little fun with slides.
Yes, you did.
That one right there is, and we're going to talk in a minute about constructing this deep, firm intention, a decision that looks scary, feels scary, but we have a vision of the end in mind. And we're going to talk a bit about the bias out there, that if we make mistakes or fail, that maybe people will look down on us, or maybe they don't, and we just think that. And we're going to talk about how to build something that we can, day by day, with the sunlight of the spirit, move towards something and become, even if I don't know, climb that mountain, but every bit of prep I did, but I only made it 3/4 of the way and I twisted my ankle. I have become a better person in that pursuit.
Yes. And I think too, Charlie, when I look at the slide before this one, which I love, because I'm sure he didn't start out this way. When we don't make decisions that are healthy decisions, right? And so you build off your decisions one after the next. So if the foundational decision is not a healthy one, you're going to build more unhealthy decisions off of that one because you're not willing, for whatever reason. And I think it's fear. And that's a really important slide. You build off that fear and you just make more decisions based in fear that aren't for your highest good, right? Where it's almost sometimes like we're comfortable with the fear. We know how to navigate it because we're surrounded by it. I won't get into all the ways we're surrounded by it, like our political system, our education system, our health system. We're surrounded by fear, systems that are no longer working. However, you know, if we try and tackle, like if that guy tried to quit everything all at once, I mean, look at him, the video game addiction, the food addiction, all that stuff. If you try and tackle that all at once, you set yourself up for failure, just like you were saying. But if you take small steps, make small decisions every day in pursuit of whatever that goal is that you have, you're much more likely to succeed. And I think we get caught in, at least I've gotten caught in, this black and white thinking, this all or nothing thinking, this dual thinking. You know, we're full of dual thinking, that it has to be an all or nothing for me to be able to succeed. So let's use my snack example, because it's a good example. So in this snack that I have at night is, 2 rice cakes, a handful of pretzels, and Quest chips mixed in a small container, right? And that's the nighttime snack. Now, in and of itself, it's not horrible, but it's all processed food. And it's really bad for me. And I'm really mindful about keeping a healthy diet, except when it comes to my little cheat, my little cheat of processed food at night. Now, if I were to say, okay, I'm never going to have that again, I'm just going to stop having that all, what do you think the chances are of me succeeding?
You are going to be very grumpy the first night you hit that, and you're not, you're going to be, I would not want to call you during that hour.
So what if I approached that a different way? What if I said, for this week, I'm going to make a decision that I'm going to remove the pretzels from the snack, and I'm going to substitute it with something healthy, like, some dried fruit or something in there. And then the following week I took out the rice cakes, and then and substituted with some, and then the following week I took out the Quest chips and I substituted it. Now that's over a 3-week period, giving myself small goals to meet and doing the substitution. I can tell myself I can always go back to this terrible food that I'm eating if it's that bad.
We can always refund your misery.
Yeah, we can always, I love that. We can always refund our misery. But when I set a small achievable goal, in other words, when I make a small achievable decision, I'm much more likely to have success. I want to say good morning too. Good morning, Carrie and Cassidy. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, you made the right decision.
Yes, you did. So you see where I'm going with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Brenda, we break this down. Okay, so we take a look at maybe take a look at the chemicals, and then take a look at what the adversity it has in our body. But we also look at, why did they put those chemicals in? Because it activates fat, salt, and sugar in our body. And what does that do? Our brains light up. It releases dopamine, the high of just putting it in the bowl. I mean, it's an addiction. And just it's like 6 o'clock, it's like 7, it's like I'm looking forward to this, even though it's kind of that weird like solution to whatever, which made no sense. So let me move on.
It made sense.
Anyway, so they made that purposefully to activate the centers in your dopamine and the different chemicals in our body. It hits our gut, and that sends more I forget the name of it, but more releases more, and we're so satisfied. It calms us, but it does activate the more signal too, like, that's an I got to get a bigger piece of Tupperware to mix that sucker in. At least that's my thinking. And then it's never big enough. Now I've got to, I'm using like a big spoon, and I've got to hide from people because I feel guilty. And it just unleashes all trains of circumstances that don't serve me. And then I got to be a little secret about it. I can't be honest about it. And those decisions, those are red flags,
They are, Charlie. And what just came into my awareness? You turned me on to an app, and I used it this morning. And I know we don't have to make this all about food, but food's kind of a big thing in our country, considering the rate of obesity in our country, because a lot of our processed food is highly addictive. I was going to have a bagel this morning, a cinnamon raisin bagel. I usually have one on Saturday mornings. And I put it through the Yucca app, Yuka. I scanned the barcode with the Yucca app, and it came up with 3 hazardous chemicals in the bagel, listed as hazardous, which means it's likely to cause cancer. And I didn't have the bagel. I still wanted to have the bagel though, but I didn't have the bagel.
And
Yucca.
you did not die.
No, I didn't. I had something really healthy instead.
That's the weirdness of all of this too. It's uncomfortable to move from the known. The known is I eat what I eat. I have my coffee when I have it. I shower when I shower. I do what I do. I drink what I drink. I do, and I'm living this. And some of us might call it a vicious cycle. Some of us call it's just the known. It's my most practiced way of living. And if this is where I love coaching, it's like, but hold on, do you ever stop? Because we make decisions. How many thoughts a day? 50 to 70,000. Most of them are recycled. They're just automatic. It's unconscious. It's like, hey, I'm at the coffee maker. Don't remember planning this out. Hey, I'm pouring a cup. Hey, I'm walking into my office. It's like the more conscious and awake we become, the more we realize, hey, I'm reaching for the naughty food. and it's like, why am I doing this? So, but once we disrupt that, that's what I like to do, is disrupt it, because these patterns, these well-oiled paradigms or what's wired together, what fires together, wires together. So these synapses, these neural connections in our brain that are totally lubricated every day, and they love the energy passing. It's a flow. The brain thinks it's doing the right thing. It's keeping you safe. You're not going against the grain. But as soon as you want to, as soon as you go, that's it, I need to make a decision. And Brenda, you said it very well. It's like, you don't need to change everything. You need to start somewhere and then celebrate that, and then add and add. And my God, if I stayed the way I was, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now. I would be pretty dead. Or I wouldn't be with it. But it was very uncomfortable from getting help, asking for help, for getting a mentor, to hiring a coach, to people pulling my covers. But it wasn't that I'm a bad person, Brenda. None of us are. It's just that we don't see what we don't see.
No. And again, our conditioned mind can't fix our conditioned mind. So, in wanting to make this decision for myself to eat better, I reached out to you and to Stan for help with that. I have accountability buddies now that are going to be on the journey with me to make this change in my life. That's where coaching comes in. That's where accountability buddies come in. And it works. It works when I do this with other people who can redirect my thinking when I'm telling myself a story, because I want what I want when I want it, because my brain wants to go down that path it's already traveled. I was listening to a YouTube video before we did our podcast this morning. And interestingly enough, and I just happened to come across this, I wasn't looking for it. It came up in my feed, and it was about making decisions. And what she said about making decisions was, our brain works on pain and pleasure, avoidance of pain and accessing pleasure. And so when we make a decision, she says, you say, I am making this decision to, and you list what the decision is. I'm making this decision to stop eating processed food. And then you say, because, and now you tell your brain something about pain or pleasure, because processed food is going to cause cancer, and that's going to be extremely painful for me, right? Your brain wants to avoid pain. So if you tell yourself that, and it'll get into your subconscious brain. I said, and it gets into your subconscious brain. Mm-hmm. So you associate the decision with a pain or pleasure. I'm going to make this decision to stop eating processed food because it's going to make me feel good about myself. It's going to make my body feel better. So you add those two things together when you're making the decision, and you'll also have a better result, just because of the way the brain works.
Yeah. And and like a good way is to download YUKA, Yucca, from the App Store. Okay. Don't go crazy. Just say, in this area, and maybe you don't want to, and that's fine too. But I can tell you, more joy, more vibrance, more connections to healthy people and stuff comes when I shifted to the I don't know mind. I want to improve. I want to see what's out there. I want to, look at the possibilities of growing in life. And I got that app years ago, and and I went scan.
I know. I know.
Like,
Yeah.
if you go into your shower, hit the containers in there, you're gonna be throwing out a lot of stuff. But it's the why. Okay, so what? This has a lot of sodium. I don't care. I don't have a problem with sodium. I'll drink it. I'll exercise and sodium that out of me. But oh wait, and it tells you what's wrong, and it's a massive database that Procter and those big craft foods, they're not liking that, because when you scan a box of Cheerios, on the front it says heart healthy, and then you scan it, it says no, not heart healthy, deathly.
No.
And it's kind of disruptive. It's like, wait a minute, I've believed this all my life, and I haven't died. Well, I'm not eating 14 million a day, but it's like, but maybe if you keep just aligning the puzzle pieces a little bit better, and over time, things will, when you make that decision, when you sit down, Brenda, let's talk about this a little more, because how do you construct it? Okay. So the first thing you said was you took the ingredients of your nightly cocktail and you kind of went, let me scan each of the barcodes of each. Let me look at how it doesn't serve me. Okay. Now it serves me for sure. It absolutely does. It ignites that when it hits the receptors on my tongue, it produces that fat and salt and sugar into me. And trust me, when they made that, they had every intention of that happening to you.
Yes.
Because they're looking for you to buy it again and over and over and over. Do they care about your health? Not at all.
No.
So that's the game. And they hire the best of the best. And they have lobbyists and they have scientists. And those Pringles, you put one Pringle on your tongue, oh, baby, that whole canister's history. So anyway, we look at that. Okay. Now, do I love myself? Am I worth it to step into a new me? Just this one area. And how am I going to go about this? Right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And it is designed. It's designed this way to be addictive. Hang on one second, Charlie. So Kate is saying baby steps. When I was eating very healthy, my friends at work used to say, what dirt are we eating today? All my food came from the ground, 100% processed free. That's great. That's great. If you have access to that kind of food, that's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that, Kate. And there's a couple more comments here. So Cassidy said, fail forward. Carrie's saying, good morning. Baby steps. And people are asking for us to post that app. It's YUKA, Yucca. YUKA. You can scan anything. And the other thing you mentioned, Charlie, was if you go into your shower and you scan some of the other items, shampoos, hair conditioners, soaps, hairspray, all contain carcinogenics.
Oh yeah.
Carcinogens, rather, all contain carcinogens. And it blows my mind that products like toothpaste, deodorant contain carcinogens. You add all those carcinogens together, like in and of itself, the toothpaste isn't going to kill you, but the toothpaste with the processed food, with the deodorant, with the stuff in your shower, with the hair, like all of it together can be really dangerous. And it blows my mind that I can scan a product and it could come up with hazardous ingredients and it's still being sold. I mean, listen, I could talk about this all day. All of the processed beef that they serve at Wendy's and McDonald's and Burger King, is on the World Health Organization's top carcinogenic list. And they're still making Happy Meals for kids. Blows my mind.
But it makes the kids happy.
Mm.
It's not a lie. And it makes mom and dad happy because shut it, eat your Happy Meal. I mean, so you're right. And when we do that podcast, we're bringing Stan the Man in.
Oh my gosh, we should.
He's I don't want to say it because he might watch the recording, but I was going to say he is freaking ridiculously healthy and very inspiring. But it takes us all. How do you get to that point? A day at a time.
One day.
You build a decision based on here's the harm of me taking this action. Here's what's possible. I could feel better, look better, see better, sleep better, thrive better, have more energy, and help inspire others to make some healthy actions in life. Wow. But I'll start tomorrow. That's the power this stuff has. And Brenda, those products that we scan, most of the ones that are the least healthy are the biggest companies.
I know.
And that's what's embarrassing. Oh, not embarrassing. That's what's sad because they are marketing machines. And, and it smells good. Yeah, I know. But that fragrance is eating my hair off my head. See? So anyway,
it's true.
So you've based why it's a good idea. And I'm in the same club with the night and, the cocktail I like to have. So I take a look at it and I scan and I say, why am I in it for such a short-term return? Why am I in pain when I move into my mouth? No. Okay. So what is this really going on? It's a habit. And I'm afraid because I don't know what it's going to be like when I remove this habit. I think I'm going to feel empty and I won't know what to do. Well, can you work with that? Yes. Have you done this in your life? Oh yeah. I've removed some very unhealthy habits. I didn't remove them actually because you can't, but I can form new healthy habits, So my whole morning is different than it used to be. Just keep constant and never-ending improvement. At least that's how I like to live this game of life.
So what I would encourage people to do is first thing in the morning, start with something small, something that they want to change that's small, and start your day off with a victory. It makes it easier to make good decisions throughout the day when you start in the morning. The other thing you said, Charlie, is, it's a habit. It's a habit that usually the habits that we have make us feel good. Even if they're bad habits, it's the pleasure thing. It makes us feel good. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever given up a habit that made you feel good that you regretted?
Wait, have I ever given up a habit that made me feel good?
That you regretted?
No.
Me neither. Me neither.
Because it was a synthetic feel good. It wasn't
exactly.
It wasn't a joy. It was pleasure as opposed to bliss and joy. And it wasn't that. It was me seeking something because I'm not willing to address what's really going on. So let me quickly get out of this pain and get that massive bowl of ice cream. And then that's maybe how it started. And then it just became a habit.
Right.
And then I can't see what's it going to be like without it until I think about it. And I say, is it true that I will suffer intensely? No, because I'm going to build the construct of this decision. I'm going to bring it to your attention. I'm going to bring it to maybe my coach's attention. Maybe my coach is helping me see what I'm unable to see about me that is keeping me drifting, as the whatever the thumbnail said on for the podcast today, Brenda, because we all want to thrive. We were born to thrive, and I know there's not a person on here who's happy. If their life isn't happy, joyous, free, thriving, you making all the money you've ever wanted, you have the locate, all that's in place, then you're obviously somebody that's giving back and building nonprofits and helping to transform the universe. Well, I'm not there yet. So that means I got to continue to be honest, to rigorously honest with what's taking me off course. What am I not taking an honest look at? And what story am I putting out there so you don't ask questions?
Absolutely. So Eleanor says, I'm trying to eliminate one thing at a time. And, that's important. One small victory at a time. And I want to say something about what Kate said, because, she makes an important point. When I was eating very healthy, my friends at work used to say, now, I want to talk about that for a second. We care about what other people think of us, because I get that a lot at work too. Because I eat the lunches that I make for myself. I cook a big pot of stuff on Sundays for my week's lunches, and it's full of all healthy ingredients, all kinds of vegetables and mushrooms and just all healthy stuff. And they make fun of me at work because I eat so healthy. I mean, this snack thing that I do at night is really the last part of what I need to get rid of, and I will do it because you and Stan are going to help me do it. But it's important what she's saying. We care about what other people think of us. We don't want to be made fun of or be called, oh, that's the health nut in the room or any of that stuff. And really, for me, I had to believe, and I do believe, that the only person's opinion that matters about this is mine. What anybody else thinks of me is none of my business. People are going to think what they think regardless. I'm not that important. It matters to me, and that's what counts, is what matters to me and my health.
Isn't that the truth, but takes work to get to?
It does.
That is not just, I heard Brenda say that on a podcast, I'm there. Absolutely not. Not for me. It took practice. It took me tapping people in a store. Hi, you don't know me. Are you thinking about me? Oh, you're not? Jeez, that's weird. How about going to rooms that there might be 30 people in, and I'm wondering, are they thinking about me in here? No. But when you are a bright light, when you are that light, when you trip into the light, little plug there, and you are coming from this beam and you sound and you have an attractive message, or you're just sharing your life journey and people go, I want some of that. Then, maybe you're starting to live on that beam.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know that you talk at the itty bitty committee and Ain't It Awful Club. And, it's easy to make a decision to remove that toxic person out of my life. No problem. You're done. I'm sorry. I can't have that in my life because, whoops, I'm going the wrong way again. Environment is critical. And we're only, take a look at our environments. How's our offices, our cars, our bathrooms, our closets, our garages? And, are they well organized? Because they're a direct reflection of our mind, of what we're doing in our life. And that's because I had to make a decision, Brenda. I had to decide to organize my shed, put things where they belong. And gosh, I'll tell you, what was the benefit of keeping it messy? There wasn't one, but maybe I didn't believe it was possible, or I didn't have the know-how, or somebody might say, ew, why is your shed so clean? That's ridiculous. So it's like, what? I want that. So I went and did it. And I do get compliments, but I didn't do it for that. I did it for when I opened the door at perfect peace and ease. And then that project moved to the garage, and I got still areas to improve, but I work really hard in that area of my life because I don't want to create more frustration for myself by living in a messy environment.
No, that is important. Your environment is really important. It's also important, though, not to go to extremes with it. I've seen people go to extremes with it. There needs to be a healthy balance. Somebody suggested to me a while ago to make my bed in the morning. They said making your
Absolutely.
bed in the morning makes you feel really good when you start your day. And then when you come home later and you open your bedroom door for whatever reason, whether you're getting ready to go to bed or you just happen to go in your bedroom and you see that bed made, it like you just feel good. It's nice. And it was suggested to me to do that, I wasn't making my bed. I was like, I get up, I get on my knees, I pray, I hit the shower, make the coffee, I'm out the door. I don't make my bed. And then I started making my bed and it did feel good. It did feel good. I was surprised.
Otherwise, we come home after and then we open the door and we go, oh, crap, I never made the bed. Now I got to do it, you know?
I
Any,
wasn't even doing that.
I'm sorry?
I wasn't even doing that. I didn't care.
Oh,
I
God
really
bless
just didn't
you.
care that my bed wasn't made. It just, I'm the only one who sees it, is what I told myself. I'm the only, who's going to see my bed? Not having company. Who's going to see it but me? That's the story, right?
All right. Well, we'll start doing the live stream from your bedroom.
No, you won't.
Then we'll all see it. I would do it from mine, but my wife won't let me, even though our bed's made. I know that much because if she didn't make it, I do. And we
Mhm.
do it in the morning, like you said. It's that simple decision.
Yeah.
It's like, what can I do today?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, I need to fix everything, because I'm a fix everything right away type of guy. It's all or nothing. And I never can do it all. So I fail. And then I am a loser and I suck and I give up. And then I blame, I complain, I rationalize, I'm legally blind. People just don't get it. And I don't want to be that. And
Yeah.
that guy I came from for years. So what can I do? I can make my bed. I can smile. I can be kind. I can clean the cup instead of leaving it in the sink. I can put it in the dishwasher. It's only one, but at the end of the day, it could be 12 because there's something going on within all of us. If we ever say, I'll do this later, that's no, do it now. If we ever think somebody else might do that for me, like Molly, like if I leave stuff in this, and she does, but I do it for her. So it's just, you know, but like you said too, I don't need to go to the extreme of everything has to be perfect. I had that extreme with my boat. Like I'd be watching my kids eating. Don't drop anything. Because see, my worth doesn't come anymore from what you think of me
Exactly.
on my boat. My worth doesn't come from my shed. My
Exactly.
worth doesn't come from how clean or well lit my garage is. My
Right.
worth comes from knowing that I have the ability to serve.
Yeah.
And if somebody mentions, wow, your garage is clean and I love the lighting in it, fantastic.
Yeah.
And if that inspires you to go home and move a box or two or do something in your garage, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. You bring up a really good point, Charlie, and it's important to talk about this. If the changes that you're making, as you're making them, if you are so hard on yourself that you're punishing yourself or talking badly to yourself, or you're not compassionate or empathetic with yourself, if you don't succeed that day, then this is, you're not approaching this the right way, because this isn't making changes and making decisions for the better may take time for your brain to adjust, for you to be able to maintain on a consistent basis these new habits. And if you're judging yourself when you fail, then you're missing the point, because now you're adding more negativity into your life, and that's not what this is about. If you fail, if you make a mistake, if you have a day where you're not able to stick to that decision, it's important to be loving and compassionate with yourself and say, tomorrow's another day. And I will recommit to this decision and I will start again. And you do that with love and kindness and patience and tolerance with yourself. One of the things that I read, I forget what book it was I read, it was recently, like within the last week. That's exactly what they were talking about. They were talking about these growth behaviors that you're doing. You're growing in new behaviors. If you are not doing that with gentleness with yourself, then you're just missing the point. It's not about I'm a terrible person if I don't do this, or I'm a loser if I didn't do it right today. No, it can't be this extremist kind of obsessive compulsive, I got to get it right, I have to get it, that's not what we're talking about here. I think it's important to mention that.
Yeah, well, that's just another form of eating at night.
It is, and that's
Yeah.
the point. That's exactly what I was trying to say, Charlie. It's
Yeah.
just the other side of the same coin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something deeper down, unresolved, and that's where the coaching and the processes and the time for the 10s or the 12 steps or whatever it might need to be to help bring you through that trauma. Intense, I know. It's like I never in a million years thought I would ever seek help. Not so much like help with certain things, but not my being, but here's the 3 B's. Believe, behave, become.
Oh, I love that.
And believe is believe in yourself, but believe it's possible. The it is the decision to change. We all could decide right now to end this podcast and go to Wendy's and get a burger. That would be very well, actually, I wouldn't do it, but you know what I mean? It's so much easier to make bad decisions for some stupid reason. But the only way to believe, behave in that way, and become, it's not what I get, it's who I become on the pursuit, on the journey.
Absolutely.
It's not so much the size boat I had, it was the experiences. It was what it did for our family and the rides. And my dad and I had so much quality time on that dang boat all over, and just, okay. But anyway, that's what it is. So we need to believe it's possible, and we need to believe that in ourselves, because again, inner prompting, is it coming to me? Nobody's telling me you need to change and do this and make these types of decisions. If those people are around me, then I've just decided to remove them. Nothing with loving, gentle guidance and things, but no dictators. Okay. Let me look within and find my own path. So that's the first thing I believe. And then I behave in a certain way. What does that mean? I take action. And then if I have a tough day, like you talked about, or a tough afternoon, or I want to kick and scream, and I fall back to the whatever it was, and then I don't give up. I get honest. I'm human. I made a mistake. I'm not perfect at this. I'm on a journey because I want to become a different, healthier, happier person. And the only way to do that is stick to itness.
I love that. The 3 B's. You should do a slide on that, Charlie. I would love that. Or video. We should do a time for 10 video on that. The 3 B's.
Oh, the marketer's coming out.
I love marketing.
ABM.
I just love it. This is a good place to end, Charlie. I want to thank everybody who came to our podcast today. I'm sorry I didn't get to all the messages. And we look forward to next week. Thanks, Charlie, for the 3 B's. And I'm really motivated now. Really motivated. Small steps, one day at a time. The 3 B's. Lots of good stuff today.
Yeah. I'm jacked, amped, excited, and I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.